All right, everybody, here we are again. Does this face look familiar? Yes, she is. She was here the first time talking about the basics of 1031 exchanges. So today we're going to get a little bit more micro. We're going to talk about reverse exchanges. What are they? What types are they? What kind of flavors they come in? And so thank you again, Shanae, for joining me today. Let's go and educate some people. Let's give them some
Yeah,
info, yeah?
this
I
will
am
be
stoked.
fun.
And it's a Friday. I don't know about you. It
Yes.
always feels like Friday. For some reason, my days feel like weeks. Like every day is a Friday. It's going so quick. Could you have ever imagined that during a pandemic, things would actually go faster? Isn't that kind of a little counterintuitive?
Yeah, I
Okay, I'll tell you what.
absolutely agree.
I think nothing makes sense in 2020. That's what I'm going to say. So, on
No.
that note, let's make some sense of this with some great information. So, thank you again. So, tell me, what is a reverse exchange and do they come in different flavors? I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah, they do. So a reverse exchange is where the taxpayer intends to actually purchase a replacement property before they close escrow on the property that they're intending to sell. So essentially, they're just buying first and selling second. So it's kind of an exchange, but just in the reverse. So as we
Hence
touched
the
on
term.
last, yeah. And as we touched on our last call, with the most common type of exchange is the delayed exchange, where they sell first, buy second. So reverse exchanges, we're starting to see them become a little bit more commonplace, especially in this crazy market that we're in this cycle, with a lot of people having challenges in terms of finding property and having the ability to actually close escrow on that property that they found. So a reverse exchange really allows for the taxpayer to secure the property that they really want without the traditional confines of identifying 45 days
The
of property.
45 days. Okay. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. Now, have you seen situations where, for example, if the client's 1031 exchange is going to be short some money, that they take out bridge financing from the existing property to bridge that gap and then do the delayed 1031? Do you see some of that happening as well? Because it's
Well,
a timing issue,
here's,
right? I mean,
yeah, there's certainly some challenges when you do a cash out refinance too close to the time of the exchange. Because if you're pulling equity out of the relinquished property to be sold, depending on how it's viewed under audit, the IRS could potentially say that the cash that you pulled out could be treated as boot and potentially taxable. So we always kind of shy away, against putting a loan on the property being sold close to the time of the
closer
exchange.
to the time. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I'm sure you can mitigate it at least somewhat through paper trail, but you're right. It kind of gets things messy. So that's one. Okay. Are there other types of reverse?
Yes, so there's two different methods to a reverse exchange. And
Okay.
one method, that's where we're going to actually buy the replacement property for you, and you would remain on title to the property being sold. And before I go too far there, I think it's important just to kind of, give a little bit of a baseline foundation on a reverse exchange, because the IRS allows for you to buy before you sell. They just don't allow you to own both buying and selling properties at the same time. And
Mm,
because of this, we actually will create an LLC where we're going to take title to one of the two properties involved in the transaction. So either the property being sold or the property that's going to be purchased. And the way that we really determine which property we're going to take title to is really going to be based upon how the exchanger intends to pay for the property that they want to buy, because we're not in the business of lending money.
that would be my job.
Yeah. So let me do this. I want to just share a screen here because I want to show you a little bit of the timelines for the exchange. So when you look at the reverse exchange timeline, it's going to be very similar to a traditional delayed exchange, in that once we take title to one of the properties involved in the exchange, the taxpayer is going to have 45 days to identify in writing to us the property that they're intending to sell, which I think for most taxpayers, they pretty much know what they're going to sell. but they just have 180 days from the date in which we take title to that property to get their property sold and to have us either transfer title on the replacement property to either the exchanger, or if we took title to the property that they were selling, transfer title to the actual buyer.
So this process is even in reverse. Instead of focusing on the subject property you're buying, you're focusing on the property you have.
Correct.
Interesting. Very good.
Yeah, so with that, like I said, there's two different methods to a reverse exchange. The exchange first method, and this is where we're going to actually take title to the property that they're intending to sell, and then they're going directly into title on the property that they're intending to buy. Now, this strategy really works great if you have clients who are pretty liquid and have the ability to come up with the cash to buy their replacement property. Because the challenge with this particular strategy is that the exchange occurs once the exchanger takes title to the property they're buying. And so what this simply means is that whatever equity they have in the property they're selling, that's the amount of cash they have to be able to come up with for the down payment. And then they could get a loan to finalize the balance to close. So for example, let's just use very simple numbers here because only one of us is the math guy. But let's take a $1 million property, and let's just say that they have $400,000 in equity on their sale and $600,000 in debt on the property that they're intending to sell. But when they buy their replacement property, their minimum down payment would have to be $400,000, and then they could finance the balance. But if they don't have the ability to come up with the full $400,000 for the down payment, they're going to pay tax on the difference between what they put down versus what they netted. So,
that makes sense.
Yeah, and the alternative to this, if they don't have that ability to come up with the cash, then we're going to take title to the property they're going to buy, with them remaining directly on title to the property they're intending to sell.
Right, the departing. Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But the real challenge with this particular strategy is that if they have to obtain financing to buy that new property, well, guess what? We're just creating a shell entity that doesn't have any assets. So
Right.
even if the exchanger is going to guarantee the loan, you have to be willing to make the loan to our LLC.
Which means it's going to require a specialty lender.
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's not as linear, easy as it sounds. There's just
Correct.
some moving parts. Okay, that makes sense.
So
Excellent.
I think with that, it's great to have, the right resources and the right team to really help facilitate the process.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that this isn't for everyone. Obviously, this is a little bit more nichey,
Right.
but at least we know that these tools are there for those who fit this model.
Correct.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. As always, you're so insightful. I love it. Here we are disseminating great information on a Friday. So my last question is, how do people get a hold of you?
I am available by phone and by email. So my phone number is 888-677 and surprise 1031.
Yeah.
And my email address is just my first initial and my last name, and it's smabrie@oldrepublicexchange.com.
Well, there you go. You heard it here first. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your Friday. Have a great weekend, everybody, and stay safe and stay positive because there's so much craziness out there. Make sure that what's in here is always positive. Take care. Thanks.